I'm not really... Okay, listen. Okay. First, I have 3 things to say on the subject of this. Whenever I open any video to watch on stream, even though I do it very rarely, okay, and I maybe watch 1 video a stream ever, and the videos are always, like, pretty relevant to the topic conversation, you guys all go, reaction stream, lol. You wanna know the disgusting thing? Whenever I sit there playing a video, even if I say fuck all, I go up in view count. That's the truth. And every other streamer does the same thing. Why the fuck wouldn't I? You guys are all going reaction stream lol, but you all also sit here and eat this shit up. You love it. That's the truth. I guarantee you, this is 20 fucking 6 minutes long. I'm gonna press play and I will go up at least 500 viewers do this shit, right? So I don't give a shit if you're like reaction streamer lol. That's the truth. On top of that, I do it pretty fucking rarely, and I think I actually generally, I don't just let videos play, I generally try and comment on them in some meaningful way. Also, I have been watching YouTube videos of other streamers recently, so if you see me doing like, or you know, like this or something, it's just so the leeches who re-upload my shit to YouTube get a good thumbnail, okay? That's the only reason I'm doing it, and it's also to appeal. I realize this as well. This is a hot take right here. The reason that is so successful on Twitch is because a large part of the Twitch demographic is legitimately autistic and doesn't pick up on the finer, like, social facial expressions, so over-exaggerated facial expressions and cues appeal to both children and autistic people. No flame to anyone, that's the fucking truth. And you guys know that's why you guys love it. Alright, Jesus Christ. No, I'm just curious why Preach said that this wasn't a good raid in general. Because that's what chat was saying. I'm just genuinely, I have no idea. I should also close these fucking tabs, shouldn't I? Whatever. Hold up one sec. Let me just resize this real quick on my screen and then we should be good. Okay, wonderful. Tack. I'll make this nice and small. Then we're all winners. Everyone's a fucking winner. Great. Alright, perfect.
New dog.
Oh. Yeah, I was doing.
Yeah, this is the, Wait. Alright. YouTube has a new picture mode. Oh. Wait, is that better? Or it's literally the same thing. What the fuck? Oh, that's dope. Wait, that's fucking sick. Man, I'm retarded. Okay. No, what I'm saying is, this is the underwater boss here. Let me just...
What the fuck?
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Wait, but I don't have controls anymore. Am I retarded? Oh, no, I do. YouTube is too difficult for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eternal Palace, where we have now tested 8 out of the 9 bosses. That's right. The only boss we are actually missing right now is Queen Ashara.
Okay, so he made this video before 2 tests ago.
Bosses being tested. They're being very aggressive with the testing on this raid. And unfortunately, a mixed bag, including what seemingly, for anybody who tried this thing, believes is the worst boss ever created. No. I do not, under any circumstances, realize how overbearing that statement is. But I kind of agree. Absolute wash of standards. And it kind of comes down to the quality of rating overall. So at the end of this video, I'm going to give a score, because we may see Queen Ashara and Heroic. Sometimes they like to keep the final boss under wraps, particularly if there's some sort of extra stuff, but now they tend to put the extra stuff in Mythic, so we did see things like Heroic Gahoon, etc. Yeah. So we'll wait and see. But
for the past like 10 tiers, they've always tested Heroic.
I'll give you like a grade
end bosses, but not Mythic.
Out of 10 for each of these bosses, because it's a very mixed bag in Eternal Palace.
I'm probably going to disagree with most of what he says.
So the first boss we got to test was actually boss number 7. I believe. So, yeah, boss number 7, which was the Queen's Court.
Oh, 7 is the cool.
Court. Now, this is overlap the boss.
7 is the cool. That's the
idea of overlapping.
It's like the 6th boss or 5th.
And gone absolutely mad with it. Because that's all this boss is overlap the boss. And as such, a lot of our focus for raid testing, because it wasn't particularly difficult. We killed it almost immediately. And, well, again, I remind you guys, our intention during raid testing is not to kill the boss. It's actually, if we can kill the boss, fine, then we'll intentionally wipe at very low percentages. Dude, and then we try the boss.
It's so funny because Method used to be like that, right? Method used to be, like, when I joined Method initially, if there was an hour of testing, you best fucking believe we were using an hour, right? Like, that, we even if we could get the boss to 1%, the first pull, we would use that full hour. Now, okay, it's just like, Oh, dude. Oh, please kill it. Please kill it. Let's go. First boss, we get 50 minutes of AFK now. We literally give 0 fucks. It's actually disgusting. Like, if the boss is undertuned or it bugs out the first pull, we're just like, oh, we accidentally killed it. Guess we can't do it again. Going AFK. Bye, Scripe. See you. Enjoy doing testing. Nuke him. Yeah, literally. And Scripe gets pissed off because he's like, we want to test mechanics. We're just like, boss is dead. Unlucky.
Different ways, and we try a number of different abilities. How do our individual classes kind of mix with these? It helps with planning what classes are going to be better going forward, and I'm sure you guys want a video on that as well, which is like which classes are looking good once we get into the Eternal Palace.
Warlocks,
is it going to stay the same with
Shadow Priest,
Warlocks, and Shaman and things like that,
yeah.
Or is it going to become more melee friendly and so on? So that's what we tend to do. So in this fight, you're going to have 2 NPCs to deal with, Silvaz the Zealous and Pajmar the Fanatical, and each of them have a great deal of abilities. So if you're not good at recognizing, and I know there are a lot of people who are in this boat, and I fully understand it, because it does take a good couple of goes to really get your head around it, recognizing a number of different abilities. Like, each of them has 4 or so different abilities they can use, if not 5. And that means in total there's 10 different abilities that are coming out all the time. And you have to know how to deal with each one individually, because some of them affect the whole group, some of them affect individuals, and you need to be able to not only recognize which of these abilities it is, because they all have kind of strange names. So it's like Frenetic Charge.
The boss is completely scripted.
Charged. Then you have Suffering, Deferred Sentence, Form Ranks, Stand Alone.
So the boss has a lot of abilities, but it's completely scripted. So you don't even need to like understand.
Pajmar's Touch that you have to deal with. All kinds of things going on with these bosses that you need to be able to deal with and recognize. And you don't really need to react to shit randomly. Like, we got a feel for some of the abilities.
No, he doesn't.
So let me give you some examples. So there's a charge which needs to be soaked by the group. So
yeah,
you want to be, whoever's getting charged, you want to be running to that person and grouping up with them so it hits you and spreads that damage out. Otherwise, that person dies. There's also one that's basically an execution sentence from a paladin, so that one needs to move out. There's also a Zealous Eruption from one of the bosses where he's going to do a big AoE around him, but you need to soak it, so you want to run into that. There's another ability that makes you want to stand still, which is kind of an interesting ability. There's another ability which makes you all need to be spread around from one another, right? So you have all these...
Okay, the thing is, you don't really need to learn the mechanics at all. Like, he's making it seem like you just need, like, you need to be able to react super quick to them or whatever. You literally don't. The boss is completely scripted. What will happen is the same as every other fight that's scripted. You'll get to like 1 minute in. Okay, now we know this one comes first, this one comes second. Okay, now you get to 2 minutes in. Now we know this one comes second, this one comes third. Then you go to 3 minutes in. You know, this one comes fourth, this one comes seventh. Like, the fact that it has a lot of abilities isn't a major sticking point. The boss is completely trivial, I think. Like, I think it's honestly not a hard boss.
Different things going on,
but he's not really talking about difficulty. He said it was random. It's not random.
Have things like circles appearing on the floor,
completely scripted,
and those need to be stood in, and there'll be 2 at a time, at least on heroic.
They don't do the same shit each time. They do,
where you'll need to stand in them, and then they'll disappear, and some more will spawn. So you have to move around and do all these kinds of things. So you have all these different events happening, these different abilities happening.
It could be random in Mythic.
Sometimes a couple of them can overlap.
Completely scripted in Mythic testing.
These come out pretty much constantly. Which means that they're far more dangerous. So on
no,
Mythic,
I'm not. Oh, there's tips out. What the fuck?
2 at a time.
Wait.
The bosses have like a set.
This bitch, he's afraid of me. He won't even kill me.
Can use 1 each.
Look at this fucking bitch, dude.
However, on Mythic, it will be 3, which can get really messy.
Wait.
And it actually reminds me.
I wanted to kill that one. Wait.
Going to be a bit out there for some of you. But Omnitron Defense System on Heroic, when it first launched, Omnitron Defense System had a random order that the robots could spawn, and they would stick to the order that they would spawn.
I need to kill this one. That's fine.
Dramatically easier than another, and we ran into it here. There's a rather
So what Preacher is saying basically is on heroic testing or whatever it was random. Like I said, the most recent Mythic testing, it was not random. It was completely scripted. I'm not flaming his video. The video is now a couple of weeks old. I'm not like saying his information is trash or anything. I'm just explaining that it's not like that anymore, and it's completely changed. So why is Tips doing this? I'm confused. Probably farming pearls. Oh, are pearls like valuable? I have a small lustrous one. I guess I can sell it in the auction house.
Interesting mechanic in the fight that puts a set amount of damage on you, right? So you are going to take, let's say, 800,000 damage.
Yep.
You're going to take that. That's obviously far more than your HP.
Thank you, Tips.
So what can you do with it? Well, it's got a countdown. And the way this ability works is...
Tagging?
If you stand still,
Tagging?
you won't take any damage.
Tagging?
And then when the timer runs out, you'll take the full 800k
Tagging?
damage. If you move around and start running...
He might kill me, actually. Wait,
will start...
He might kill me, actually.
Dot damage and reducing the overall damage that you'll take at the end. So if you just run constantly, you can actually take a lot of dot damage, a lot of damage over time, and that will eliminate all the 800k damage so that when the timer runs out, you won't take any. If you move around a little bit and say get rid of 400k damage, then you will take 400k at the end of the timer. You get the idea. You've got this bucket of damage your character is going to take, and you get to choose how much of it you will take at the end by how much you move around, how much you damage yourself, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So we had a strategy where we just did like a dance, basically, with a lot of cooldowns, because it always...
Yeah, you just get a debuff, and if you move, it does damage, and it stacks up if you don't move. So you'll either take a big hit or a bunch of small hits. It's not... I mean, yeah.
Seemingly paired up with the AoE ability from the other boss, where you had to be soaking it together. So it meant that the raid had to gather, and therefore we could just run around in circles and just get rid of all this damage, and then we'd all take the big hit, and we'd have healing cooldown sharing
It's
that
barrier, forehead.
most of us. So it worked out okay in that regard and became a nice little tactic for us. Simultaneously, you might have something else going on, such as the charge. And if the charge is going on somebody who's not part of this group, then you're going to need to get to
I think generally he's overstating the difficulty of, like, the stack mechanics.
Which
at least the script that existed on Mythic, sorry, I know I'm Paul's fucking Annie, I don't give a shit. At least the script that existed on Mythic, I didn't feel like was... There was one or two crazy overlaps, like, there were legitimately one or two points where you're like, fuck, but you can just out-CD them. And you can... The stuff that makes... The only mechanic that makes it hard is he will target a random person to charge at them, and that, like, splits damage with a soak and shit. But you can immune that charge in a bunch of different ways. So... that becomes kind of easy with, like, a decent comp.
This is my concern, because this boss is kind of okay. It's kind of fun. It's very engaging, because all different abilities are happening. You have to be aware of what's going on. So as long as you're comfortable with what's happening, it's kind of an engaging boss. I didn't mind this one at all. But what I will say is because there are so many abilities that have mixed types of damage from physical to magic, and also things like charges where they're trying to hit you, things that need to be soaked in groups, and things where you can pre-plan where to go. Lots of ways of bypassing a lot of the mechanics here, which I think Blizzard's probably going to look into. For example, you could get out of the way of the charge. And
you could juke a lot of shit. You can immune a lot of shit. That's exactly what I was saying.
Shared, it didn't need to be soaked, and it also didn't leave this rumbling earth, like shaman earthquake style effect on the floor. If he didn't hit you because you moved out of the way, then simply nothing happened. Now the idea is that's not supposed to happen. Just to be clear, you're not supposed to be able to just get out of the way of it, but you absolutely could with various abilities, and that meant that you bypassed that mechanic entirely and therefore freed the raid up, because the difficulty and the interest in this encounter is having to work with your raid about what's the best solution. So a couple of concerns in terms of how certain abilities will overlap, such as like having to be spread. Will we, in Mythic, certainly, will we be getting that at the same time that we kind of need to gather?
No.
And we're going to have to do this sort of like very, very pre-planned ability. Okay. Are we going to get that at the same time as having to move to something else? I mean, there's ways around it. I'm just worried that if they're going to have the abilities at random, and this is more the case. Like, I don't think...
Okay, well, I mean, I know he released this video before Mythic testing, so, like, it's kind of, you know, like, it was relevant at the time. But, yeah, we've covered it. It's scripted on Mythic. It's fine. It's not a concern.
But if they're going to have the abilities at random, then we could be looking at somebody who does a first pull. They get a really convenient order of abilities, and it's just not a big deal, and they just smash the boss. Whereas another guild gets there, and they get a really awkward series of abilities, like back to back to back, because that does happen. It happened on Omnitron all the time.
It feels so... Okay, I don't want to skip, because if I skip... You get the idea. It's not relevant, blah, blah.
Certainly in 10-man, like, this fight is undoable. Literally, that was the situation we faced. This fight is not doable with this order of robots, and therefore we just kind of have to wipe it and pull again and see what order we get next time. So that was the Queen's Court. Decent enough boss, quite like this. The next one they gave us was Zakiel.
Okay. This is the second to last boss. This is like...
as always on the PTR, some things are really buggy, and we're aware of that. But this fight was kind of cool. I actually got into it, but I think it was a kind of mixed reaction to this boss from the overall raid team that we had that night. I really liked it. A lot of movement. The problem we had with this boss, which I think was annoying some people, is the damage values of some of the abilities he was putting out were just way, way, way above and beyond what they were supposed to be. Sometimes 4 or 5.
Just heal forehead. Literally just heal forehead. I don't know, man. I think it was good. I honestly like that boss a lot. I feel like this video is yeah, it's fairly outdated just because this was before most mythic testing. So most of what he's saying is now like changed or being clarified and shit. So I like I'm not just like it was relevant, you know, yeah, almost a month ago. But no, I don't think I'm gonna see the rest of this just because it's kind of we're just going over stuff that's already changed. I thought because you guys were like, oh, he thought the raid wasn't very good. I don't think he thinks the raid isn't very good. I think just like this was very early PTR testing when it was just kind of like not finished, or it was heroic at least. Yo, check this clip out I got of you. What is this?
90 eye level increase.
Oh boys, I gotta prune this tree a little bit. Okay. Yeah, AC-tron rejected me, that's fine.
90 eye level increase.
Okay, I unsub from some girls, and honestly, I'm enjoying the money that I'm saving. Legit, I'm saving like already 25 quid a month from unsubbing to some girls. Great. Oh, also, I looked a lot better with hair. Holy fuck! Like, I actually regret shaving my head. Holy, what the fuck was I doing? Dude, I looked so much better with hair. God damn, why the fuck did I do that? All right, whatever. He ranks them at the end. Okay.
And in fact, we did run into the problem. Yet they only do it like in certain special times. And you've got to swim over to him, and you've got to swim through a little pathway of jellyfish. Now, the idea is there's a slipstream, which gives you some sort of speed increase, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, this is...
I love the theme of Krong. I think that's really good.
Oh, for fuck's sake,
I really
Reggie.
like the Jade Fire Masters.
For fuck's sake,
love
Reggie.
Opulence. I think it's such a great fight. I really enjoyed Mecha Talk. Like, I think that's really cool. And, of course, Jaina. Very few bosses in the battle. Mechanically, it was just very, very ordinary. And the Eternal Palace, nothing has really stood out for me yet. As like this boss could be really cool. Maybe Lady Ashvane.
Yeah.
Maybe. But we have 2 ultra terrible bosses so far. So we've got out of the 8 that we've seen then, that would be, of course, the Blackwater Behemoth is awful. Radiance of Ashara is also absolutely terrible in my opinion. Abyssal Commander Savara, which is the first boss, I would give like a 6 out of 10. I think that's pretty good.
That's reasonable.
Blackwater Behemoth, a 0 out of 10.
No, I disagree strongly with that. So originally I would have agreed, but I think the most recent testing on Mythic clarified how Behemoth is going to be played, and I didn't think it was too bad. I think people are just super opposed to like Z-axis movement, even when it's not a big deal. On Blackwater Behemoth, I don't think the Z-axis movement is a huge deal. Also, what the fuck am I trying to do? These quests are so scuffed. Excavation site. I'm trying to go to Dunwater, but I don't know what anything is. It's also scuffed. I don't think wetlands is the zone for me. I think I've already out-leveled wetlands. Like, I'm gonna get another level and stuff. Half the mobs here are grey. I don't think wetlands is a good idea. Are there any other zones that are appropriate for, like, level 28 and shit? Not a big deal because you're a fucking caster? No, not a big deal at all. The melee just hit the boss. You hit the boss, you can easily get out to pick up the thing. It's the second boss in Mythic. I don't think it's a big deal. Stranglethorn Veil? Okay.
Out of 10. Lady Ashvane, I would give like a 7, and that's pretty good.
Agree, Ashvane's very good.
I would also give like a 7.
Agree.
It's a decent fight. It's not amazing, but it's decent enough. That's all right. Queen's Court, like a 7. It's a 6 to 7. Like, it's okay. It'll come down to what your personal strategies are. Like, if you like struggle.
All right. My personal ranking, yeah, it's really hard to know. This is actually interesting to see, though. He said nothing stood out. I honestly thought Ashvane and Zakul stood out a lot. I like Zakul a lot. I don't agree with 0. I think, and I don't agree with the 1 there. I think these are both like at least sort of 3s or 4s. I know this seems pointless to rank. Ashara is really fucking good, by the way. Ashara's good, Zakul's good, Ashvane's good. These 2 depend entirely on tuning. Like, Orgulza could be exceptional if it's tuned very tightly. If you really, really have to, like, manage the debuffs well, okay. 3 or 4 might as well be 0. No, that's fucking stupid. That's like saying 30 or 40 miles an hour might as well be not moving. Come on, dude, you're smart.